All right, all right, all right. How's everybody doing on this Sunday night? I hope you guys are doing well. I decided to get on here, bad hair and everything. I just wanted to talk a minute. You know what my minutes are like. They can turn into hours very quickly. I wanted to get on here and I wanted to talk about certain things that are going on in the true crime world. We have a lot of different cases going on, but yet behind the scenes we have all these creators going at it. It just I don't know. It's kind of sad, I guess. Hey Nina. Hey Soul Child. Hey Soul Child, you want to come up on panel? Nina, you want to come up? I want to talk to somebody. Hey, nonsense is on. Anybody want to come up on panel with me tonight? I want to carry it by myself, but there's only so much you can say without bouncing stuff off of another person because the YouTube crime community when I first started doing this was a lot friendlier. Like there wasn't people really going after each other in the true crime community. That was in the trauma stuff, and I was like, um when it started getting ugly. And I was thinking to myself, where is this heading? Why are we going after each other like this? What is really going on? There's people that I know that have been creators for a while and they've been friends with other people. They've kind of left the group, started on their own, became friends again, had a falling out, and then they went and did their own thing again. And it just like, I don't get it. I don't get why friendships on the YouTube streets are so hard to maintain. You want to see a cool shirt? Check out my shirt. How many of y'all like my shirt? Isn't that cool? I can't go any lower than that. YouTube will ban me. I'm just playing. My girlfriend will kill me. I like breathing. So, Anyways, while we're waiting while we're waiting on Nina to come up, I'll continue to kind of keep the air flowing. Soul Child says, I don't know what is happening. Could it be like holiday stress? We should be able to have opposing views without fighting. I don't get it either. I really do not. Like, I think it's how people present themselves either when they are talking about other people or they're mentioning other people's names. Some people don't like to have their name mentioned or even presence of even the presence of you insinuating that they're less than, I mean, and I've gone after, and I think, I've gone after creators. I'm not going to sit up here and play innocent, but I haven't called them out. I've posted videos about the people that I have issues with. I haven't made fun of them. I've posted their own videos and I've said this and that about these people. And I've also said if the people that I have had the issue with, because they went after people that I care about, not because they went after me, they went after people that I care about. And I care about these people because they appear to be some genuine people. So I could be wrong, but they've never wronged me. So going after these people at the time seemed like the right thing to do. Yeah, I mean, it is terrible for sure. It is terrible for sure. But I got a comment in my live from last night. The end of it, I reported it, so I can't show you guys. But the person said they were referring to my channel. They said this channel is crap. Um, they're so delusional that they're probably going to get up there and talk about Hitler versus Koberger. And they did the laughing emojis. And I was like thinking to myself, for a split second, like I was talking about last night, like I was talking about last night, for that split second, it takes you back to that moment when you had that trauma. And I was just going to go off. But I didn't. I didn't, you know, held my tongue, used my warning label, and kept myself cool. Welcome to the stage, Nina.
Did you see my title?
Huh?
Did you see my title?
No.
Morning Label Ambassador.
Oh, you changed it.
No, I
Nice.
didn't. I didn't change it. It's just on StreamYard.
Oh, okay. I like that though. I like that. Well, it cut off the ambassador, so it says
I
warning
know.
label ambassa. Okay, that's cool too. That's cool
How do
too.
I change it back now?
Well, it'll automatically, when you start StreamYard again, it'll ask you at the
Well, I
when you
know, but
check.
I don't want people to think I'm being ugly.
Oh, that's fine. Don't worry about it.
Oh, and you said
And
you use your warning label. You don't
yeah,
use me. We do these things together.
in Texas, thank you for that. Fuck them and feed them fish heads. 12. Yep, exactly. I mean, I was thinking about going off for reals. I really was gonna just, you know how I am.
What's going on? I must have missed something.
Well, I just got on here to really just talk because, it's been a long week and I want to vent a little bit before the week starts. So I start the week with a clear head. And I saw you in chat. I thought, hey, I'll invite Nina up here, see how she's doing today.
Oh yeah, because I like to vent.
No, somebody left an ugly comment on the live that we did last night. They said, I don't like this channel because it's trash or crap or something like that.
What?
And yeah, and they said, um, this person's dumb enough to probably compare Hitler and versus Koberger while an innocent man sits in jail and other people make fun of him.
Oh
And I
wow, I
was,
didn't see that.
oh, I reported it, so that's why they deleted it. You know.
Well,
So
there.
any of you lurkers that wrote that in an anonymous account, go fuck yourself.
And feed you fish heads.
Yeah, exactly.
Texas, I thought I was the only person that had ever said that. It has got to be a southern thing.
Yeah, I guess so. My friend said that all the time. My friend said that all the time. You know. Oh, I caught it before it became something really big. I mean, but like I always tell these people, man, you got something to say? Come up on panel. Let's talk about it. Talk,
Exactly. I mean,
let's
that's
talk
the thing
about it.
about it is if you ain't man enough or woman enough to get up there and defend what you're saying or stand on what you're saying, then keep your mouth shut.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, welcome, Soul Child. I didn't know you were in Texas. I'm in Texas, so
I bet
yes,
Texas is in
ma'am.
Texas.
Yeah, Texas is in Texas. Nina's from Alabama,
Yes, I am.
which
One day,
might as well
one
be
day we're going to
Texas.
melt into the Gulf.
Hey, Alabama might as well be an extension of Texas.
Boy, you ain't kidding.
their draw is just a little longer than Texas. You know,
I don't have a southern drawl.
just a little bit, Nina, just a little bit. So you had a good day,
I've had a
Nina?
wonderful day. My Friday night I was sitting here. As a matter of fact, I was on the live Friday night, and my front door opened, and it was my 16-year-old granddaughter. So
Oh
she
yeah,
spent the
nice.
weekend, and so about 11 o'clock this morning, her sister, which is 18, came to pick her up, and they have just left. So I've had my granddaughters all day.
Oh, awesome, awesome. That is what it's about, right?
No, I
Family.
was ready for them to go.
Oh, they drive you crazy? Huh?
Well, I mean, when you're used to that quiet time or, just dealing with doggy duty, and now it's, hey, Nina, because, when you go to grandma's house, you got to go get in the refrigerator and you got to look through the cabinets and Nina's got to cook and Nina's got to buy chips. And,
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly,
okay,
exactly.
y'all are a whole lot more than just doggy duty.
Well,
And I got
Nina,
a,
I really enjoy that you get up here and talk to me. I mean, I enjoy the lives that we do, And Dr. Vona sent me a video today that will continue with the Steven Stern stuff, and it was quite interesting. And I got those emails from you, so I'm going to be looking through those this week, and hopefully we can do a
she
live
actually
on
sent me
those.
she put a comment today wanting to go live. And I said, well, tell Gage to arrange it, So
Well,
she was
Dr.
talking
Vona,
about
if
what
you're
a
in the
good
area,
time.
come on up. Let's do this. Let's do
I don't
this.
know how to send it to her.
Oh,
I don't know how to share it to her.
let me text her.
Oh, well, see, now that would be good.
Yeah, I got her
Yeah, she
number.
said that she really enjoyed all three of us talking.
I didn't do squat today, but do a worksheet.
Look, there she is.
There she is. Yeah, I just texted you. Yeah, howdy.
Well, I posted on my page today. Anytime I say something on somebody else's panel, I always like to post my receipts, because
Yeah,
out of respect
exactly.
for the panel that I'm on.
Right.
And so Friday night, I made the statement about the American Bar Association adopting a resolution. It's called Bill 519 or something like that concerning the FGG. So I posted that. And then I posted pictures because, see, I think that there's a camera on 1126. And so I posted pictures of 1126 and stuff like that where I think the camera is because I said that. It should turn off. And then I posted something else. But what was funny was they all came back, the ones because I tagged everybody that was on the panel. And so they were really interested in it's called the FGG, the IGG, whatever you want to call it. I
Man,
think
doesn't your
FGG
brain
because of
ever?
forensics.
Hey, doesn't your brain ever like get tired of all that information? Mine did. Mine does. I just did probably an hour's worth of work, right?
Let-
Doing doing statistics and all that stuff for my class, my criminal minds class. And I
I
still
actually
have,
deleted 2,600 files today.
and you know what? I still have a 3-page essay to write tomorrow. So, I mean, I have to break it down, otherwise my head just feels like it's
See,
gonna
mine,
explode.
I soak it up like a sponge. But it had gotten to where, I mean, like any kind of screenshot or picture or anything, they were in my gallery, they were in my Google Photos, they were in every
Yeah,
file that I would come across. And I was like, that's
right.
it. I'm deleting all this stuff.
Well,
I
I
think I
have
ended up getting
folders.
rid of like 16 gigs.
I have folders, with a lot of pictures and a lot of documents and a lot of stuff people have sent me. and I've categorized those in folders. So whenever I do resume doing the Idaho case in that aspect, it'll be easier to find. But you know as well as I do, when you're live and you're looking for something, you can never find that because you're
Yeah.
so anxious to get it.
You
You,
see, and that's how I was. I mean, because I knew that I had to post that stuff, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I know I've got it." And
yeah, yeah,
so I did like you. I went in. I made a IgG file and the informant file and all that stuff. But see, I've got all that on my Discord. I've got
right,
my Discord. I set my Discord up just so I could have threads to put all my stuff in. But then I don't know how to get it out of Discord.
right, right. I got out of Discord because it was becoming too weird. Like it was hard to differentiate between people in their lives versus people who are really different in Discord. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So I couldn't do it. I was like, there's no way that I could be viewing this person talking like this in Discord, but yet on your lives and your channels, you're totally different. Like you don't even you put on this face that if people really saw who you were, well, it'd be better if they saw that person rather than create a
Oh
false
well, the good thing
persona.
about me is you get me all the time. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm the same on YouTube, on TikTok, at home. Don't matter. I'm the same.
Oh, that's what they said. They said this channel is crap. This isn't TikTok or something. So I don't know if they were talking about your channel or my channel, but
Probably
I took it as offensive anyways, and I'm not just rehashing that to start crap, but you just brought up a memory and they said this isn't TikTok or something and
right.
or go do this on TikTok or something like that. And I was like, F you. I
Well,
was that,
they can
that
talk about
wasn't
TikTok. When I started on TikTok, my granddaughters would always come and like show me these funny videos and stuff. And
yeah,
so I got to watching TikTok just for I guess the senseless stuff that's on there. And I came across the recovery community one time, and that was 3 years ago. And that's how I built my platform was in the recovery community. And
right.
so, I mean, the
That's
way I look at it
amazing.
is
That's
if you want to talk
amazing.
that kind of crap, talk it. I don't care.
Right. That's amazing though. I've wanted to build up a platform of recovering addicts or, addicts struggling on my channel, but for some reason it's never gotten out to the right people, I guess. I
Or
guess
on
I gotta
TikTok,
no, here on
oh,
YouTube. I guess I have to
you
tag
have
it
to do
under
the right hashtags.
okay. See, I don't put
Yeah.
hashtags on it. So maybe
Yeah.
that's why. Maybe that's
Yeah.
why.
Because, see, YouTube don't know where to send it
Okay. Gotcha.
because that's what the hashtags do is they direct the algorithm of where it needs to go.
So what can I put a hashtag on tonight so people can
I mean,
see
you
it?
can just do like when I do my hashtags, I do, if I'm doing Idaho 4, which is basically all I do now. Um, my basic hashtags are Idaho 4, um, U of I, uh, Kaylee G, because I can't say her last name, and I will not butcher it, so I just say G. Um,
Yeah, Gonsalves.
yeah, Maddie Mogan, Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle. And then, like when I was defending Kara, I would put Kara Kernodle. And, sometimes my
Yeah,
hashtags don't show up as ever being used, but I don't care. I use my own hashtags.
yeah. You're right, Texas. You're really right. I mean, I believe that, people got gazillion alter accounts and they get on all these accounts and come into people's comments and places and they just start shit. Like I said earlier, the way you see yourself and how your life is, that's how you're going to perceive your world. So everything is going to be a fight. It's going to be an anger driven mentality. It's going to be all about that. So I mean, it's really sad that somebody has that energy to sit around on the computer and actually pick a fight with somebody they don't know, they've never met, and all they do is have heard them talk for a couple of hours. How
Well, the
much
thing,
hatred must they have in their heart to
you
be
know,
able to
I've
just
been I've been on Jay is for Justice's panel. You know, she's got over 100,000 followers, and I've been on her panel, and you know, they can be 1,300 people in there. I've been on Granny's watching panel, you know, with 1,300 people in there. And the thing about it is,
hmm
12 or 1,300 is no better than 12.
right, right.
You know, because I would rather have 4 quarters than 100 pennies.
So, what made you go into those channels?
Jay is for Justice was doing a thing on Sebastian, and I was really, really into the Sebastian case before it got so damn crazy.
Okay,
And
okay.
so we had talked, and I had some information that she wanted. So um, there was an investigator. It's SF Investigates. I think that's his name. He had come
hmm
on, and he was needing some information, and I had the information, so they called me on the panel. And at first, I thought that I was going to be nervous because there were so many people in there, but I mean, I just talk like I do if there's two people in there. I mean, I'm not going to fake it, you know. But the thing about it is, I've also been in some that, you know, have all those people in there. But if you look down and read the chat, they're not doing anything but bickering. They're
Yeah.
not really discussing anything or listening to the host or, you know,
Yeah.
they're just going back and forth and people blocking this one and people blocking that one. And poor old mods are saying, slow the chat down. I mean, you know, and I'm like,
Right, right.
wow, you know,
I mean,
I'd
that
rather
is
be
true. That is true, and it's so sad that that they don't come to listen to the information. They just come
right.
to cause chaos and, possibly interrupt the people that are there that want to listen. I mean,
I mean,
because I've been in.
I've been fortunate, you know, when I went on Drunk Turkey, the first time I went on Drunk Turkey, I think I had 36 subscribers, you
Mhm.
know, and then the next time I went on, I think I had 140. So I've been on Drunk Turkey, Jay is for Justice. I've been on some big creators. So, you know, I've been lucky in that. But the thing about it is, do you, I don't want to sound disrespectful because I appreciate them giving me a chance. You know what I'm saying? With me not being a
Yeah,
bigger creator. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So
right,
I do
right.
appreciate that. And it's not about the hosts, it's more about the fighting and bickering that's in their chat.
So, if you think about that, since we've been talking psychological mindsets and everything, you know, it's almost a feeling of I must be relevant to everybody else above and beyond no matter what. It's like a pecking order. Like, have you ever seen a bucket full of crabs? I'm talking about, red crabs, blue
Yeah.
crabs. Have you ever?
Yeah.
Okay. If you throw a bucket half full of crabs, and you put some water in there so they don't, die instantly. Well, what happens when one crab starts to get momentum and pulling himself out?
Right. And I mean, that's the thing about it is when I first, I mean, you know yourself. I mean, when I first started, I was needy and clingy, and I wanted to be accepted, and I wanted everybody to love me, and you know, I didn't want to piss nobody off, and you know, that's the reason I said a couple of weeks ago to you. I said, you know, it's so freeing for me to just do my own content now. I don't care who likes my videos. I don't care who don't like my videos. My videos are based on my research, my facts, what I read, what I perceive is saying. And I tell everybody if I've understood it wrong, put it in the comments. We'll talk about it.
Right. And my friend Carla that was dealing with cancer, and she's in remission. She's doing well. Um, she said at one point when she was up on the panel, she said, the more knowledgeable that you are, the less biased you are. because you're focusing more on the knowledge than choosing a side.
And see,
And that makes
I
a
can
lot of
see that
sense.
because since I've started doing it more based on not a bias or trying to
Hmm.
please other people or not want to be a guilter or want to be accepted by the pro burgers or since I've started it just on my research, it has given me a whole different outlook because now, like, on that panel Friday night with me being the only one of the opposite opinion, um, I could still talk about how the college was profiting from what happened. I'm not saying
Right,
they're
right.
involved, but they took advantage of a bad situation.
I mean, I was like, I wonder if anybody else. I went back and read my email because I don't have my notification on for the 12 gauge email. I should, and I've been meaning to, but I went back and I read it, and I saw what the topic was, and I was like, oh, that's what she was up there for. I had no clue what you were up there for. I just saw you, and I saw Kim from Ultimately Unique, and I didn't recognize the other ones. I recognized CJ, but that was it. And I was thinking, if they're doing pro burgers versus guilters, I know where Nina stands. I mean, I know,
Well, it's
I
well, see,
know,
I have
I
to give
know.
props to CJ, and I know that CJ is not everybody's cup of tea. Hint, hint, Jeff.
Hmm.
But anyway,
Yeah.
but when I found YouTube in January of this year, he was one of the first ones I started following. And his community just like they accepted me right in, you know. And so that's where I started, doing the research and stuff. And I would send all my research to CJ. And, CJ was really good. If you
Right.
send him research, he's really good about shouting you out or whatever. And he came to me one day and he said, Nina, you know that I wouldn't give up your research for nothing. He said, but Nina, as much as you've got, you need to do your own channel. And he is actually the one that pushed me to do my own channel.
Yeah.
And so when he asked me to come on, I was like, you I always want to remember those, that reach their hand out when you're, you know, I mean, he had enough faith in me to say, you need to do your own channel. You know what you're doing.
Right. Right. And I believe that he was right. You have a lot of different variations. And I remember when you went on another channel, I'm not going to name him because I have issues with that person. But when you went on his channel and his comment section just kind of was not too kind to you and how it affected you. There's some people that like what you've learned, I'm sure, is they're not intellectually able to decipher factual information versus hearsay.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is, and I mean, um, the person that has taken me under their wing taught me that even those bad comments, that is still interaction. It's still, stuff like that. And, you know, the thing about it is, I was told not to take it personally, sort of like what uh, Dr. Bonus said the other night is it's not about you and it's not about you, you know?
Hmm.
And so, I
Yeah.
mean, I had to learn not to take it personal because a lot of the comments were not. I mean, some of them were. I mean, one of them said, "Is this lady drunk in her car?" And
Oh
I mean,
my,
I was like, "Wow, that's pretty bad," you know. But most of them were not against me. It was against
what
my
you were
theory,
saying? Yeah, yeah,
you know. And then I finally
yeah,
learned, okay, it's my theory, and if we can say that the goblins put them in a wheelchair and wheeled them down the road in the tunnels, then I can say my theory.
yeah. I mean that is interesting to hear that, and that's what I'd like to talk about tonight is the mental health of YouTube. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like just kind of discuss some of the behaviors and thought processes of certain creators, not to necessarily call them out or, make fun of them or anything like that, but just to their behaviors alone speak louder than who they really are off the camera. And I don't think they realize that. I don't think that they understand that they affect so many people in that chat. Because there are some people that don't, they just listen on the sidelines, they don't chat because they're intimidated by some of the people in the chat. Like they feel like they might not fit in, they might say something and somebody's going to attack them, or the host is going to attack them, or something like that. So they just sit on the sidelines. And I hope that if anybody's sitting on the sideline tonight, come on into the chat. These people in here are some good people, and they will greet you with open arms. They will not berate you. They will not demean you. They will not do any of that. They will talk with you, and you're free to have difference of opinion. Just don't be rude about it. Just don't be
Exactly.
disrespectful to me. Don't be disrespectful to me. Don't be disrespectful to anybody in the chat. And that's all that I mean, those are the biggest rules that I have about anything in here. I don't act like your information is more valuable than what's being spoke on. I mean, because how can it's kind of like this. Those individuals that bring they're the type of individuals that are constantly fact checking everything the creator says. Why don't they use that knowledge on their channels, or why
But
don't
here's
they
the
create
thing
a
about
channel?
it is you've got those that are fact checking, but then you've got those that say, "Duh, duh, 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 which way did they go, George? Because I'm just going to follow him, and he says this," and
Yeah,
talking about the person that Truth is talking about, the way he's going after Viviana right now. You know,
yeah,
me being me, of course, I want to, but she's handling it. She put her video out. She's handling it.
yeah. She's, I defended her
And
because
the thing about Viviana is she ain't afraid to take care of it herself.
no, she's not, and I like that about her. It's terrible that you got to go after people's, any
If
kind
you
of
want to go, if you want to go after somebody's theory or maybe putting somebody in danger or something like that, but don't go after their personal, their appearance, their mental health, their don't make it personal.
right. But a lot of people cannot not make it personal.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we don't really want to give Michelle the platform tonight, but she's a YouTuber that early on, I guess,
Oh, I was
has
wrong
went
about who Truth was talking about.
who I guess she went from panel to panel, and she would instill her opinions strongly. Which there's nothing wrong with that. But she took it to the extreme on some of the panels, and I don't know anything else other than that. So I'm not at liberty to talk about her. She's not here to defend herself. And that's another thing. I don't feel comfortable talking about somebody unless they're here to defend themselves. They're up here on the panel to defend themselves. You get what I'm saying?
Oh well,
Hey,
see,
Detective John, how you doing, buddy?
I guess I roll a little different than you because I have done my little ranting lives.
Well, I mean, there's people do it different though, Nina. I mean, the way that I do it is the way I do it. The way you do
Right.
it is the way you do it. I mean, we're not clones of each other, and nobody's to say that one way is better than the other. We get our point across either way. So, it doesn't have to be a carbon copy.
But I am trying to be better.
I mean, I think your warning label comes well deserved, and I believe that those people that do see that side of you, they probably get that side because it's deserving.
And that's the thing about it. I am in no way any kind of YouTube police or anything like that. And
Yeah,
like I said, it may just be my soft spot for Kara, you know, but she's been through it. Leave her alone.
Yeah. And I
Any
mean,
parent.
if she's out right now, if she's out, I don't even know if she's out. I've heard
Yeah,
so
she's
many
out.
stories.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's out.
If she's out, she needs no pressure from anybody about anything.
And see, that's the thing about it is that was my point was, you're talking about an addict that has lost her child. Do you
Right.
know how easy it would be to trigger her right back in? And people don't realize that, and coming from a parent that's buried their child, nobody knows what those parents are feeling or going through. It doesn't
Exactly.
matter if you like those parents, if you don't like those parents, what you think of those parents. Until you put your child in that ground, they ain't no way you can know what any of them feel.
Right. You
And the
know,
thing about it is, I'll go one better. It's what we don't feel anymore.
you
Think
know,
of the
when you're
feelings
fresh
that we don't
getting
feel.
when you're fresh getting out of treatment and you're good and going back into society, she's been out of society for a while. She's gonna have these individuals hitting her up the moment she hit the ground outside the prison, right, Nina?
Yes.
She's gonna have these.
I was blowing my nose.
Oh, you could have done it on camera. Nobody cares.
I would lose my lady card.
Oh, your lady card. All right, always the lady. Always the lady. Anybody else who wants to hop on up here, feel free to hop on up here. We're just not going to argue. We're not going to have high drama. None of that. We're just talking about what we see on these YouTube streets and some of the things that have not really changed over time. They've gotten worse. And it's terrible that everywhere you go, it seems like people are just ready to fight, and that's a societal thing. It's just not on YouTube. It's a societal thing, I believe.
And I
What do you
would I
think?
would like to say something to John. Oh wow. John, I totally, totally get where you're coming from. And I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you that it gets better. My baby's been gone 5 years and it don't get better with time. It gets worse because it becomes more real. And all I can tell you is that if you ever need to talk to a parent that understands, if you ever need to talk to a parent that can feel what you're feeling, I
And John, you're more
listen.
than welcome to hop on up here. We're talking about a lot of different things, man. If you need to vent, you need to talk. We have a doctor up here, and we have a therapist in the house. So we're here. This is a safe place, brother. Don't feel like you can't hop up here.
Yeah, I mean, because I'll tell anybody, when you bury your child, it skips the heart, it pierces your soul.
Hi, Dr. Vona.
Hi, everyone.
Hey,
How are
sweetie.
you doing?
How are you?
It's so
Doing
funny.
great.
We spoke of the devil and she appeared.
I literally did. I clicked on and I heard at the end of Gage saying somebody put in a comment. Don't even worry about them. Why are you giving them any of your energy?
I didn't respond. I did not respond.
No, but like even here, the hell with them. Don't even next.
Yeah, I mean it was a comment in the live from last night, they're just being asses.
It's upsetting, but I feel like people do that on purpose. They see you climbing, you're starting to get more views. So why not just try to cut you down at the knees and see if you could take it? But you can take it. So while you're climbing, you just wave hello and you
Yeah,
keep going up your
exactly.
tree and you let them go.
Well, I
Oh, you
guess
might.
the fact, as we discussed on panel, I'm a fighter at heart and I'm quick with the draw, and I'm one to tell you off really quickly and then smile and go
Hence
about
the
my
reason I
business.
hence the reason I email him when I'm about to go off.
That's funny.
So we're
That's
talking about the mental health and the mental health crisis of not only YouTube but America. How the society seems a lot more disturbed and offended. It's like
everybody's offended. about
Yeah.
everything. It's the truth, though. I think people have to stop being so. I heard Nina say my. I heard also. I was like letting the dogs out because I'm like they're going to wind up barking as soon as I get on. So I heard you say the good news. The quote is the good news is it's not about you. The bad news is it's not about you. And I feel like people just have to roll with that. And you know what I mean? Because this is the thing. When I do something or say something, I'm doing it because of me, not because of you, right? So
Hmm.
you're reacting to it or responding to it, not you personally, but the other person reacts or responds to it. But I'm putting out there like my own stuff. So we're only projecting what we're feeling inside. So somebody else has hate and they want to project hate. Just don't try not to absorb it. It's hard to say at first. I say, look, we have a rational brain and we have a logical part of our brain. So we have an emotional and a logical parts of our brain. Sometimes our
Hmm.
emotional brain wants to like speed up and like react real quick, but then we have to learn how to slow down that emotional brain and speed up our logical brain that says, wait a minute, this ain't about me. Like, even though maybe it should be, this isn't about me, this is about them. So it's all about trying to be less reactive with your emotional brain and more reactive with your logical brain. I tell my students when your heart and your head say two different things. So your head is your smart one. I say, don't listen to your heart. It's dumb as shit. Your heart is so stupid. Don't listen to your heart. It's
Exactly.
lying to you. It's telling you they won't do it again. Da, da, da. Don't listen to your heart. It's dumb. If your brain's like, I don't know about that, they're probably going to screw you over again, or they're probably going to do this again. Go with your brain. It's a lot smarter than your heart is, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. I
And I think
mean,
you have a big heart. So I think, of course, it's going to be easier to get to your heart in a way that, offends you. But you have to remember that that people, when they come after you, it's their own hurt that they're trying to project. So if anything, say a prayer for them and let them go.
that's true.
Or,
That's
yeah,
true.
just do the Southern thing. I'll pray for you.
Exactly.
Well, I told my ex boss this, and she was one of those individuals. She would collect rocks, and she would do yoga, and she would do all this stuff, and she was all about the energy, right? And she tried to say, "Hey, you need to come join me and do this and that," and I told her, I said, hopefully one day I can reach that pinnacle of peace that you have. I said, but for the time being, I'm just still trying to put demons to rest, in my own time. Well, she passed away in 2022 of COVID. And, everybody who I've ever encountered in life, training or whatever, I've taken a little bit from them and I've incorporated into my own life with my own variation on it. Because that's how you learn how to become a different person is you take something that's functionable and you put your own spin to it. As we were talking about Sigmund Freud, we were talking about Darwin, we were talking about, Maslow, all the great ones. I mean, they basically almost all were saying the same thing in different ways.
It about filling your they talk more about your, which is funny that you mentioned all three of them, because all three of them, like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that's about meeting your biological needs. And then Freud's talking about sex and aggression, which has to do with biological needs. And then
Yeah.
Darwinism is survival of the fittest, which has to do with biological needs. And the other day when we were talking and we talked about genetics versus environment, you were very
Hmm.
quick to um, go against the genetic part and more the environment. But all three of those theorists would say genetics first. So does that make sense? So a lot of what we do is for survival purposes. You clearly have made somebody feel threatened, and therefore it's like, what do? You attack back. So hoping that the other person will, feel it a little bit. But the best thing you could do is bite back by doing nothing and continuing doing your fabulous self stuff and not listening to anybody
Yeah.
else.
Yeah. I mean, I
And
did.
not just
I
you. When
did.
I say you, you guys, I don't mean like you two. I mean whoever's listening, like just anybody in general.
Of course. Of course. Anybody that's hearing your voice right now. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought she was talking about me.
Well, there you go. And if it fits for somebody, it does. And if it doesn't fit for you, it wasn't for you.
Well, I emailed
So,
Roy Baumeister today.
so, do y'all think that there's a phenomenon about the chat? If we actually did a study, Do you believe that there'd be a, a statistic that shows more people are driven towards certain panels than other panels due to not necessarily the creator, but the feeling that they get from being in that closeness with the chat, possibly, or the
The
loneliness
more
that it's.
drama, the more subscribers, the more bigger the chat. The more drama, the bigger the chat.
But I mean, there's some channels that don't have drama and they have a lot of subscribers.
Yeah, but
So
if you hear them, a lot of the times it's because they have a good team around them that's like getting rid of the negative comments before they even see them. So like
yeah,
it's allowing them to continue to shine without feeling that backlash.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
like protecting them from the fires, you know what I mean? But again, this is my
Yeah.
thing. So you keep doing your thing, and eventually you have somebody else like a mod or somebody, like, just making sure that they go through your stuff to take it down, because the more you shine, the more the mods shine and stuff like that. And I feel like with the chat, I think there's two things going on. In some instances, people feel a sense of community. And unfortunately, in the times that we live, that we've talked about this before, there's not enough socializing going on. So a lot of times people feel lonely. This generation. There's more people with no friends than any other generation in history. And a big part of
Hmm.
that has to do with social media and not interacting with each other. So I think what happens is, social media provides an outlet where people don't have to put their face out there. They could put a fake name. They could be 12 gauge, or, you know what I mean? And nobody has to know who they really are. So that now gives me the opportunity, or the like the new evil, right? The new evil.
Yeah.
It gives you another opportunity to then lash out in a different way. So again, the good news is it's not really about you, or like anybody listening. It's not about you if somebody comes after you. That's the good news. But then again, the bad news is it's not about you. And sometimes they should be thinking more about you, because you probably think about others. I think that's another thing that happens is, a lot of times creators are people that really care about this stuff, because let's be honest, I don't know how it goes. I hope I eventually get enough users someday to go live whenever I want to, just so that I could say stuff and people will be on the other side. However, either way, I'm
You'll
good.
get there.
I'll live.
You'll get there.
But that's my thing. Either way, I'll be okay. So I think sometimes too many. I think I hope. My hope is that too many people don't lock in so hard to this as um, their be all end all, because if for some reason you get deplatformed, for example, or something like that, like, you have to be able to still be good on your own and have your own identity. And all of this goes back to identity, doesn't it?
Of course. Of course.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I think
Nina?
that also people find family and community. So on some channels, so it'll be the same people that they see over and over and over again. And there is something to that. I think that social media could be great in that sense. It's when people start to do groupthink in a negative way that it winds up becoming an issue.
And that's what's so interesting to me. It's like last night we were talking about the Idaho 4 case, and we're talking about good police versus bad cops, okay? And there was a person in chat that was talking negatively about one bad apple ruining everything, and they framed him and this and that and the other.
You
And
know
we're
how
trying
hard
to
that would
say,
be?
well, of course, of
Like, that
course.
would just, and think about it. Why him? Why not somebody like, and I often hear people say things like, there's no way he did that in 8 minutes. Well, someone did. Like, but I never hear people come back with that. Like, okay, like, so people be like, it's impossible. And it's like, but it's not, because it happened.
You
So
mean they're not a live and witness protection program? Because we never saw them coming out of the house, so therefore, did they really
Hell no,
exit the
they in
house?
Cabo on the yacht.
yeah, it's the weirdest thing sometimes, I think because again, it gives somebody something to like look forward to, or something to look into, or something to keep their mind busy. But it's again that pro-social versus antisocial behavior. So like, we're trying to be pro-social. A lot of creators are trying to be pro-social, but then I'm sure in the scheme of things, like Nina was saying, sometimes you get more with negativity, because we were talking about it with the news, right? The news, they continue to carry the bad things because nobody's tuning in to hear about the little 6-year-old that, raked their neighbor's leaves. But
Well,
they're going
one
to
thing
tune in
that's
to hear
interesting to
about,
me is how, One thing that's interesting to me is how these individuals, they talk about the mainstream media as they're the antichrist, right? But yet they get on their own panels and they defame the family, they defame the victim, they defame the friends of the victim, everybody involved in the immediate circle. They're talking all this craziness about them potentially having involvement in the murder of these four
Shame,
kids.
right? Shame on them, though. Shame on
Well,
them.
I get that. I get that. I mean, I'm not so caught up in it anymore. I was there for a while. I was.
And there's only so many fights you could fight. Like, you could stick up for, I feel like you just have to stick to your own truth. And then I feel like after a while, people that agree with your, with, not everything you say, but people that know that you're a good person, and, they want to tune in, they will. And then are you going to get these other people that are going to tune in and try to knock you down? Absolutely. But be ready for them.
Oh, of course, of course. I mean, one thing I'm not is soft, okay? And I'm not
No,
trying
and
to.
you're
Uh,
educated, so that's what I
yeah.
mean. Like you have like you're, and with her life experience with her son and stuff, like we have that is education. So that's like experience or an expertise. So when you
And that's
bring
what
that,
I was saying. That's what I
yeah,
was saying earlier. My friend, she's a master level social worker, and she used to get on these panels. And she said one night, the more educated you are, the less bias you have toward things.
but the more
You know,
educated you are, the more educated people think that you're like part of some big cabal or something that's like trying to go against society. It's the weirdest thing. You're always going to have people that think differently.
so
I'm part
when
of the
you
crew that's going to blow up the tunnels.
Right? Or like now that I have a doctorate degree, I'm like part of the elite. And I'm like, bitch, you ain't seen my neighborhood. I am not part of the elite. At
right,
least not yet.
right,
But when I am, I'll let you know. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, Nina. So last night, whenever we were talking about that, about the police thing, you said some things. Do you? I mean, have you ever believed that there was a possibility that the knife sheath could have been planted?
Never.
Is there any way, shape, or form in your mind that anyone but the person in custody right now committed this crime?
I am in
Alleg-
Alabama. I will never be on the jury. Never.
Allegedly.
I'm not even going to say
See,
allegedly.
you know,
I mean, my mind,
I've
like
always been taught,
as of right
huh?
now, I think they have the right person. But I mean, if they showed evidence that they didn't have the right person, I'm down for that too. Like, I don't think we know enough. I think that's the problem with everything being under a gag order is that,
Hmm.
again, like I was saying before, like the round circle, we see it as a full circle, but some people might see it as a bunch of dots, but I mean, we don't see it as a bunch of dots. We see it as a full circle. So people are trying to fill in the blanks. And because of the gag order, and we have so many blanks to fill in, people are just putting they're projecting their own thought process into there. And how
Well,
can
let
someone
me
do this?
let me throw another one then. How about the Stephen Stearns case with all the
Don't know enough.
evidence that's
Don't
Well,
know
I
been?
enough
want to keep
about it.
I want to
That
keep
one
some
doesn't have a gag order. There's
well, I want
tons
to
and
keep some
tons.
people in here, and I don't want people to. So, truth, don't hang up because we're not going to get into it like that. Just in general, I think if you're talking sorry, my daughter just came down. So just in general, I think either way, I don't want truth and stuff like that to drop off. So I want to stick to Idaho 4. But even with
Okay,
Stephen Stearns, not talking about the case of it itself, but there's still
right.
people there that like want to, and I think a lot of it has to do with a lack of knowledge. So they like about Jen, if that's what you mean, like how they want to nail Jen to a cross. And although I do not think she's mother of the year, and I think she's less than smart, I don't think that equals complicit.
I mean, I believe that some of these cases, you know, there was one that I did on the. He was a TikToker, and he went in, shot his ex-wife, and her boyfriend at the time, and they had all this evidence against them, and they found him guilty. But there was such a conspiracy on how he could not have been the one that did this. And I believe that so many times, you
Even with
know,
that
the
Richard Allen, right? I don't know as much about the Delphi case, but like I feel like people just want to like I don't know, a conspiracy is like it's that fantasy again versus reality. And it's like it lets my fantasy think about all the possibilities. Do you remember those books when we were little? And it was like, I don't know, maybe Jeff's in our age too. Jeff, I don't know if you've had these books, but in truth, I don't know how old you are. But remember they were like pick your own adventure books. It was like you got to decide which way to go. I feel like that's
yeah,
what people
yeah.
try to do here. And but they don't realize that there's real people that have real feelings and that they have to live with it. You know, like I don't think they're taking the whole thing into consideration.
And you're right. If for 1 minute in that trial that jury comes back and says not guilty, then I'll be like, okay, he wasn't guilty. Okay, let's move on.
And Jeff
Next.
saying that there's something in human nature that makes us want to cheer for the underdog, and I totally agree with that. Look, it made you choke.
Oh
Okay,
my
well,
Jeff,
God.
you made him choke, Jeff, and we're not there
the
to give him the Heimlich.
the way I look at it is you don't get 284 interviews, 10,000 10,000 pages of reports and written documents and 10,200 photographs and 53 terabytes of digital. You don't get that if you don't have something.
Yes, and I think, and this is another thing, you guys, in order for like a big conspiracy and stuff like that, like I've literally been very close to like organized crime and stuff like that before. You can't get people to keep secrets. So do you know like all the secrets that people would have to be such great secret keepers? And as a therapist, I've always been big with confidentiality, but it's a practice of mine. So I had to learn how to get that tool. It didn't just come right away. There were times that I
Right,
wanted to like
right.
tell somebody when I ran home, like, oh my God, you're never going to believe this. But I had to realize that this was somebody's life and I couldn't do that. So it was something that I had to learn. So for a lot of people, I don't know, what the hell was my point with that? I just had an
Where are you
ADHD.
going with, those kids couldn't have kept a secret in that town, or do you
Yes.
We're
Yes. So
talking
there's no
3 states.
conspiracy. Yes. So there's no,
there's
I
the
don't think there's some big conspiracy or like cover up. Like you would literally, everybody would have to be able to keep a secret.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. Y'all know y'all. I haven't hid how I feel about it, but I'll tell anybody if anybody's going to have a problem with search warrants. The only one that I possibly see having a problem is Dawn Daniels because I think she's the Brady Giglio.
I don't
okay.
know
I
as much
can I
about that. What do you
can
mean?
I can go with that due to her past,
Oh, I'm talking
Nina.
about what she did to the case. I mean, you don't. You've got the Idaho State Police there with you while you're doing the search. And you're going to take the
Okay.
evidence and put it in locker 35 for 10 days? Why didn't you send
Okay.
it with those fools?
But do we know that that actually happened?
Yeah, I've got the paperwork.
Okay.
How do you
All right.
take a 49-page search warrant and it comes back a 166-page search warrant? And how do you have a case number of 122922A that comes back a 122922B?
So I think Nina, though, I think it's like when you can't defend the person, defend the process.
But I
Or I
mean,
mean,
even
not
with
defend. You
me,
know what I mean? When you can't
right?
defend the person, pick at the process is what I meant. But it's
But
like
but
Jeff said, Occam's razor. It's probably the thing that's probably most likely is probably what happened.
But the thing about it is what I'm saying is even though I feel that they've got the right person, if they're going to have a problem with any evidence, I think it could come from Washington. And I think that she did wrong.
I'm agreeing with you. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think that they feel like they don't have enough to like try to poke holes with him. So instead, they're going to try to poke holes with the process.
Of course, of course. And that's going to be the suppression stuff. So if that gets suppressed, is there
And
any
see,
evidence in? Go ahead.
I don't see it getting suppressed because there's already been a judge that's ruled against it. And I don't see another judge going against a judge. I don't think a judge would go against judge.
Right. Well, he's supposedly going to be home by Christmas. What do y'all think about that?
Says who?
I'm muting myself.
You're muting yourself. Oh, I've seen that on thumbnails. Koberger will be home by Christmas.
So that's clickbait, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
The hearing
That's
that's made
clickbait.
the hearing that's the 11th this week is the Franks hearing.
yeah. I like your comment, Truth. Ann Taylor had done research into this case, won't have an excuse to appeal, and she'd done enough research into this case to realize her client is guilty.
I mean, all she's trying to do is keep him alive.
Well,
I
that's the other
mean,
thing, though. She's really
she has to know the evidence that the other side has. That's part of the discovery process. So if you know what the prosecution has and they give it to you, you are either smart enough to realize, oh shit, I got an uphill battle trying to defend your ass. We need to try to discredit or punch holes in the prosecution's case in order to get you the reasonable doubt needed to walk.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm reading some of the comments.
Jeff says, is that beanie sunglasses that said he'd be home for Christmas? I've never heard that
That's
name, but
crazy.
yeah, I think so. I think
It's
so.
clickbait.
I think next time I go on panel, I'm gonna wear my beanie and sunglasses.
Do it.
That's funny. That's funny.
Beanie sunglasses. Okay.
So do you guys think that he's going to get the death penalty?
Oh yeah.
You don't think they'll try to do a
Oh
what if
no.
could you imagine if they gave him a deal after everything?
I
I
mean,
don't.
Wait, I have a
if he
I
was
don't think his
smart,
pride will let him go for a deal.
Well, wait, I have a question. I don't know if anybody knows the answer to this, but I remember with Chris Watts when he pled guilty, it was like everything stopped with the investigation, but we did find out stuff. Like if for some reason they did make a deal with him, would we still get all the information or would it stay under gag? Isn't it like the freedom of information?
Right.
I think at that point it does go into
Yeah.
the freedom
Oh
of
my God. Speaking
information.
of the freedom of information, guess what I found?
What?
I have 4 pages. Okay, I don't know if anybody keeps up with the Sebastian case, but Nick the Hat, the guy that's from Pennsylvania, just got out of prison. He's the guy that's like doing the PR for Snoop Dogg, not Snoop Dogg, Dog the Bounty Hunter.
I was
Um,
like, Snoop Dogg's in the case too now?
no, but anyway, I was going through doing research, and God knows I go down the rabbit holes, and I found where he actually, I actually have them in my files that he actually put in for the what was that you just said, the where right to know act for the
Freedom
Koberger
of
case. He wanted to know. He put in everything for the Koberger case for the right to know in Pennsylvania.
Oh, in Pennsylvania.
He sure did.
Because
I
he
mean,
was
it's
arrested.
hilarious. It's hilarious to read because, I mean, who thinks that they're going to go to a state and get the Right to Know Act when it's under gag and it's an active case? It's not even been to trial yet.
So wait, I have a question then. Does anybody know just because it's under gag in Idaho or whatever, is it under gag in Pennsylvania?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah, I
so it
think
goes for the whole case. It's not like per state. I don't know how that
yeah,
works. That's why I'm asking.
I think it's per the whole case.
Wow.
Yeah,
but I mean, what people don't realize though is the gag order is only for people that's going to be used in the trial.
mhm.
I mean,
So
if people wanted to come out and talk, if they knew something, they could come out and talk. If they're not going to be used as a witness or something like that, if they're not like a big,
Mhm.
eyewitness or something like that, I mean, So that's the reason I don't think there's this big conspiracy, is because nobody's talking, because nobody knows anything.
I mean, that was a
Wait, in
short
the chat,
span of
somebody
time that
said,
that crime took place. It was in and out. Not
what
enough
happened with
time for a
Diego
lot of
that,
people to know.
wait, somebody said poor Diego hasn't had more than 30 chat participants since then. Since when? I want to know what happened. Anybody know?
Tom says he wouldn't be executed for decades anyways. You're right.
No, you're right. And I think that not just with that, I'd rather him be in general population for many reasons. Like let him figure
And
it out in
John, you're absolutely right that he definitely needs to be studied. And that's the reason that
Yeah,
I
but don't
say,
you guys feel like that's what he wants?
that's what I was going to say, is if he gets convicted, it's what I've been saying the whole time. It's a win-win either way. If he didn't get caught, he was better than Bundy and all them and never got caught. If he gets caught, then he's going to have everybody kissing his ass, trying to kiss up to him and talk to him and tell him how great he is, and
Well, I
just to
feel like
get
that's
him.
the only way we'll get the stories, if we tell him that he's amazing, because I feel like he needs us to like boost his ego.
Yeah,
Oh
you
yeah.
you said that.
Yeah,
Either one of
I
y'all can go
definitely.
interview him in prison. I'm sure he'd give y'all an awesome interview.
I don't know that he would, because I'm a female and I do have my doctorate degree. So I think he would. I don't know. He might like.
I'm an uneducated and can fake being sub.
I don't think he would talk to either one of us women. I do think he would talk to a man though. So maybe you should write him.
Well,
Maybe we should all write him and see what happens.
yeah. Say, hey, what's up, bro? Do you know this person? He claims to know you. Have been in the, in the system with you, and were you
I just hope he drops the soap 100 times.
were you
That's why
affiliated
I
with
said
the
put him in
Aryan
Gen Pop.
Brotherhood? Were you affiliated with the cartels? Man, you got around in that little bitty short time that you were in Pullman. You really made friends quick, and you made the wrong kind of friends.
I think that's the problem though. I don't think he made friends, and I think that that's what the issue was. Like I
See,
said before, I think if he had the ability to make interpersonal relationships, this wouldn't have never happened.
well, I mean, the thing, talking about the comment section and stuff, I put out a video. I forgot which video it was, but it was me talking about, oh, how far is 10 miles? Because to me, 10 miles is a lot, because he
Mhm.
drove 10 miles to a death penalty state. And that was the whole point of the video, is how far is 10 miles, and they came back and they said, do you have receipts? I'm like, bitch, please.
But
My comment.
you did bring up an interesting point. Like with the ego depletion and everything, that if you want to go all out, you're not just gonna go a little bit. Like every addict I've ever known, if they're gonna relapse, they're gonna go above and beyond. You got to catch me. I'm not just gonna do a little bitty thing. I'm gonna go all out. You're gonna have to catch me. I'm gonna run from you. I'm gonna hide from the law. I'm gonna do all this, that, and the other. I'm gonna do the most and probably commit more crimes in the process.
Can we,
So
can we talk about what Truth just said? She found out
what
that
you
one of her
think?
brother's psych records, antisocial, explosive, and schizoid. It was probably schizoid. Oh, wow. Truth, that makes so much sense.
What is that? What
So
part?
it was what we were talking. Remember the other night we were talking, or the first night I came up and Truth taught us about her brother beating her
Yeah,
and stuff
yeah,
like that. And then she stabbed him. And Truth, you should jump up. I think Nina would
yeah. Come
fall
on up,
off her
Truth.
chair. Nina, you would fall off your chair. You have no idea what we heard the other night.
Yeah, Nina. Did you watch the other night? I guess the first or second time Dr. Vana was on.
I think it was my
On
very
panel.
first time, and I was like, oh, damn. But
Yeah.
I love Truth. Wait till you see. Truth, jump up. What do you mean, no, you're good?
He took the highest dose of lithium they make. Wow,
Wait,
that's
who did? Oh, the brother. So
yeah,
lithium is a bipolar disorder and it's a mood stabilizers. So and again, we're not going to talk about anything true, so don't worry about it with the other case, but with Jen Soto, the mom, she's on something like a lithium. So that's a bipolar disorder. And it
yeah.
brings your highs down and it brings your lows up. But I think that's also one of the things that's playing into her lack of emotion, or what people see as lack of emotion for her daughter. I think a lot of it has to do with her inability to feel the emotion because of her medication. Does
That
that
makes
make
a lot
sense?
of sense. Yeah.
But that's what that is. So a mood stabilizer, if you have bipolar disorder, bi meaning two, polar meaning opposites. So, and think whatever goes up must come down. So the longer you're up, the harder you usually fall. And about 10% of people with bipolar disorder successfully complete unaliving themselves. I know that YouTube doesn't like that S word. So 10%, I don't know if people realize that. So 10% of people with bipolar disorder successfully, and that's a problem. And a big part of that is because of their medication. By bringing down the highs and bringing up the lows, like if it were up to them, they would be like, doc, can you just like give me depression medicine so that way they could have the highs and get everything done and be up for days. And, you can get a lot done in the first few days of mania. It's when it continues that, and then people go into that depression. But what people have to remember, if you do have anybody in your life that does have bipolar disorder, you have to be most concerned for them when they're in mania, not when they're in depression. They go so low in depression that even if they do have thoughts of hurting themselves, they usually can't follow through with it because they're so down and like they just have no energy and stuff. But when they're in mania, they might impulsively, like there's a movie called The Bridge. It's a documentary. If anybody, it's about the Golden Gate Bridge. It's crazy, but it's where the most people do that every year in our country. And
Right. You can say it.
you know what though? This is the thing. We want to get you in the algorithm. So why fuck it up by saying that one word? Do you know what I mean? Because no, I do hear, I don't know if it's true, but I do hear that word, like they don't like that and they won't put your thing in. So I don't know if they have like, it's something that they like run stuff through. I don't know, but just in case, I don't want to be the one that,
All righty. All right.
do you know anything about that, Nina? What were you going
Yeah,
to
I
say?
got you.
Hey,
I
all
got
I
you.
can tell you is I said the word midget on TikTok and I got banned for a week.
No,
I sure did. I
get
couldn't go
out. You
live for a
did?
week.
You know,
I got banned for a week. I couldn't go live for a week because I said the word midget.
I was discussing with Nina last night and Tom Van. He was on panel, and I
He's
was
in
saying,
chat.
yes, I see him. I was saying, how people were so fixated on the possibility that Koberger was not on an upper level when he entered the house, like he's kind of lethargic, those types of feelings. But what if he was manic
I
when
do
he
not
entered?
think he was lethargic. I think he, if anything, he was like not manic, but like I don't think he was bipolar manic, but in a state of like mania, absolutely. Like what's it called? Adrenaline and stuff like that. 1,000%.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that
I
he was
agree.
so focused on what he was going to do if this is how it plays out, that there was no stopping him.
No, very
There
controlled.
was no stopping him. Like they say, well, if they would have called the cops, well, you know what? The cops would have he probably would have been so arrogant, he would have done, taken himself out by police. You know what I mean? I don't
Hmm.
believe they would have taken him into custody. I believe that he would have made them take him out.
Although I don't know about that because then he wouldn't have been able to tell a story.
Well,
So you have to remember, you're not dealing with somebody that thinks like you.
true, true.
So, like in somebody that maybe we might know in our lives that might have, think that way. If this is like if he's the right person, then he's definitely not thinking the way that we think.
Yeah.
So for him, I think if anything, that could maybe, that's why he didn't take out the last two, because he would have rather gotten out of there and leave them two alive than take the chance of getting caught. Although, if you want my honest opinion, and Jeff, if you're still out there, you're the one that oh yeah, you are still out there. You're the one that convinced me of this. Well, not that you were trying to convince anybody, but I was watching something you did and I was like, oh my God, that's so smart. So I think that he didn't, and tell me what you guys think. I don't think that he saw Dylan, not because of anything other than the fact that when he came in, there's a step down. And Jeff points that out in his video. So when he comes in, if you don't know there's a step down from the kitchen to that second floor, you might trip a little bit, right? So you're definitely going to be looking for that step when you go back up to leave. So I really think he was looking down at like his step up, and that's why he didn't see her.
It's like a 6-inch
Jeff,
step.
do you
Yeah.
still feel that way? Because I got that from your video and I was like, that makes so much sense. Just like what you said, Nina, about the him not liking the LGBTQ community because that girl, Amber, or whatever, that he wanted. Is that what her name? Amber? I
Ashley.
believe it. Ashley, sorry. Ashley. It was
Ashley.
Ashley.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ashley.
Yeah,
But I
Ashley
believe
Reeal.
what you said about Ashley, about how he didn't like the LGBTQ community because of her and she didn't want him. I agree with that totally.
I mean, as far as the steps concerned, if you're as fixated as what we're talking about and you're as motivated, the step, no step, lights, no lights.
That's
I
more of a reason
believe
for you to
that
be hyper focused on those things.
you get what I'm saying. He would have taken the whole house out. There was something that kept him from stopping at that door.
See,
I
Jeff says it.
mean,
Yeah, no one wants to be the dumbass to trip twice on the same step. If he's looking down as he's approaching the step, he wouldn't see Dylan. That's what I think happened.
I
And again,
disagree with. I
you
disagree.
disagree?
Yeah,
Why do you think he missed her?
I believe that by the
Or do
time
you
he
think
was
he saw
done
her
with
and he
the
just chose not to approach her?
no, I believe that by the time he finished with the two on the second floor, that he was either so exhausted that he didn't have he could have seen her and thought, hey, she could have just called the cops a couple seconds ago, a couple minutes ago. I got to get the hell out of here.
Yeah, but it only took him a second to take out everybody. You know what I mean? Like it would have only
But
taken another.
even if you trip on the step, you're still focused on you. You're not focused on the door
I guess
opening.
that's
You're
my
not
point.
focused.
That he's focusing on him, that he doesn't want to trip on his way out. Like he wants to get out as efficiently as
But
possible.
honestly, if he tripped on, we don't know that he tripped on the way up.
Or he could have been blinded by the good vibe sign right
I'm
at the
not
same
digging it. I'm
spot where the
sorry.
step
You're
is.
not going to convince me on this one. I'm sorry.
No, we don't have to. We could agree to disagree. I was reading a comment. We could agree to disagree.
I know, but I'm not going with Jeff on that, and Jeff knows my feelings and thoughts on this case, so I'm not offending him
See,
one bit.
I'm pretty new, so I don't know
Mhm.
everybody's.
Yeah, he's been on my panel as well,
I
so
didn't know that. Jeff, I'm with you on this one.
yeah. Jeff is my cup of tea. He's cool. He knows my theory. We've had hours and hours and hours and hours of discussions on live panels about the Idaho 4 case, and yeah.
Hmm. I do
Nina,
think
what do
it's
you think?
interesting.
What do you think about
Oh,
the step?
I mean, the step. I can see him looking down, maybe to make sure. I think that he was just getting out of there. And if you think about where Dylan's door is, being that close to the kitchen and everything, somebody could have thought it was a pantry.
I think that too. I do think that too. Like that
You
they thought
know,
it was a pantry, but at the same time, I also think two things could be true. I think he
right?
might have thought it was a pantry and he was trying to get out of there. Because think about this, right? If you know that the step's there, you're going to want to see the step on your way out. Because if he did trip on the step on the way out, let's just say he trips, that's more of a chance of him than leaving evidence.
Hmm.
So that's what I meant by being focused and like,
Yeah.
and he probably thought he was in control. It's a very out of control behavior, right? But I'm sure in his mind, he felt like he was in control.
I mean,
I
really, if
mean,
you think about
I
it, there's a
believe that
chance.
those two in the second floor were complete collateral damage. I believe that they probably weren't even part of any of the night events. The two upstairs were the ones that probably were, or just one of them. The other one walked in. She became part of the situation. He's going down for whatever reason. He goes into the second floor. He goes into and starts attacking them for whatever reason, whether they saw him, whether he heard them, whether, the door was wide open and, something occurred in that avenue. When you're you want to leave no witnesses. You just killed two, so there's two more you got to take out, and there's a male. He could have the potential to take you out. You get what I'm saying? Like any case I've ever researched, they take the male out first. So this male
But
posed
how
a
do we know
threat.
that he didn't? Like, how are we sure that, like, do we know that he didn't
Didn't what?
take the mail out first? Like, how do we know? I know
I mean, we
everybody
don't
speculates
know.
that
We
he went
don't know.
upstairs first, but how do we really know that?
We don't know. I mean, I'm just saying based on what the PCA said, that's how it happened. So
So
that's
I'm
where
dying to
I'm
know, what
going.
do you think about DoorDash? Do you, because my theory is, I think, and I've said this from the beginning, I might be crazy, but I feel like he had something to do with that. I know that with DoorDash, like my daughter Ava, it's the weirdest thing. It's like this generation, I don't know if anybody has kids like that are teenagers, but every now and then I'll like see her walking in the door. I'm like, what are you doing? She'll be like, oh, Fiona just ordered me DoorDash. And I'm like, wait, from her house? Like she ordered, like what? So people do order each other DoorDash and they'll be like, oh, go check your front door. Your DoorDash is there. So I know that you can do that. And I know
Yeah.
that somebody called DoorDash, and if it was Jack in the Box, then the Jack in the Box is in Washington. It's not in, so it would have been by him. And
Hmm.
also, I believe that they'll deliver till 4 a.m., but that you have to, the last order they take is 2 a.m. in that area. So you would have had to call in by 2 a.m. to have it delivered by 4 a.m. And I think a lot of people overlook that.
Well, doesn't Brian live right down the street from DoorDash or from Jack in the Box?
He does. That's what I'm saying. So I'm wondering, like, do you think that it could be,
Why are we stuck on Jack in the Box?
well, forget Jack in the Box, but do you think he had anything to do with the DoorDash? Not the being the driver, but that maybe he could have had it arranged to be there at that time so that if somebody did see something, that there would be somebody else there and maybe they would get their car or something. Does that make sense? Because he showed up around the same time. So what if they got the DoorDash driver's car as the car that they thought was the vehicle? Like, so it gave an opportunity. He sees the DoorDash go in and out, and then he goes in.
See, I don't think so because I think he arrived way earlier, and I think he didn't go to the house because they had the people pulled over on there at Banfield. And I think that was the reason for him riding around so much was because he was waiting on the police to leave.
So you think that that had nothing to do with the DoorDash, because if he was there earlier, he would have just went and done it then.
Right.
Well, I mean, I don't like to use Linda Lane as a theoretical piece of
Hey, I gotta go pee. I'll
evidence.
be right back.
All
Okay.
right. I don't like to use it as evidence, but according to Linda Lane, the white vehicle that's seen on that camera rolls in around 407. So it's like that's the last time around the apartment. So that would say that either that was the white Elantra or that was the DoorDash driver going around. I mean, if Brian entered the residence before 404 or at 404, that could have very well been the DoorDash completing paperwork, whatever. He would have seen the white Elantra on his trip around Queen Road Apartments. I mean, you just never know. I mean, this is just speculation. I don't know. I
I've
haven't
seen
really
a good
deep.
video with the white Elantra and that Linda Lane footage, and it's pretty like spot on. Like in my opinion, I think it's a white Elantra. I don't. Did you ever see the
Yeah,
video where he overlays it?
yeah. I mean, there's so many videos that I've gone over all this stuff, and it's I can't wait till trial, honestly, because that's gonna be a lot of deal breakers for a lot of people, including myself. Like if I'm wrong, I like to be wrong. I like to
Yes,
learn
that's what I
different
think the
things.
important thing is. And that goes back to the beginning of the conversation, is that it's okay to like have a theory and believe about something. But then once you realize that it wasn't that's what I was saying in the beginning. Yes, I do think this is him, but my mind is open. If they show me evidence that it was not, then I'll be the first one to be like, oh, how about that? This is why
Well,
we
I
wait.
mean, I sat in a death penalty or a capital murder case here in the city where I live, and my boss sent me over there to check it out, and I was sitting in there. Well, the defense attorney had me almost damn near convinced that the guy was innocent. And I was even thinking to myself, well, damn. And then the prosecution, the assistant prosecutor or the assistant DA got up there and started showing the evidence on the closing statement. She pulls out a pair of shoes and she starts walking you through it. Well, how could this blood stain be on this side of the shoes if you claim that you were crawling away from the bullets or from the individual shooting the gun? You say that you crawled under the smoke, but yet there's residue all in front of your shirt. She pulls out the shirt, there's blood splatter on it, and all this stuff. And you're like, holy shit. If she wouldn't have shown that, if I would have been on the jury, I would have probably thought, well, he's innocent. But seeing that visually, and he was convicted. He was convicted, and it's stuff like that that, it's easy to say, well, innocent, 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 guilty, guilty, guilty. But yet you go in the court of law and you actually see it and you're like, oh, damn, this is the missing piece that I've been thinking about the whole time.
I went through two
Well,
full trials with my friend Mike that was murdered. And the first trial was a hung jury. And then the second trial, they all got found guilty. But it's crazy to see it in real life. I agree with you 100%.
hmm
You know what I mean?
I
It is.
mean, it's just interesting to me to be actually sitting in that courtroom and watching that because this guy had a violent history. He had gotten off on murder cases before because either the witness didn't show up against him or whatever technicality. He had gotten away with like three or four already, and this one it looked like he was going to get away with it again until that very last bit. And
Hmm.
she put on a show. She put on a show
Well,
because the
she probably
defense
held that to
attorney,
the end to do that because she knew that was the last thing. She probably held that to the end to do that on purpose so that that was the last thing that
yeah,
they saw.
but the defense attorney was like a used car salesman. I have never seen somebody so slick with their tongue. Like they were just walking around the room, just like what you see on TV. They're walking around the room and they're looking at the jury and they're, well, let me ask you, does this individual at this moment look like he could possibly, this and that and the other? And the jury is like, you could tell they're just, they're buying into this. And then all of a sudden the momentum shifts and
Hmm.
you feel the tension in the air. And it's amazing. I was thinking to myself, man, I should attend more of these because they're really a learning experience
They are.
because
And you
it gives you a perspective that YouTube or books or nothing else will ever give you.
That is true. I know the Ellen, what's her name? Ellen Greenberg case. That's right by me. So
Yeah.
I should go check that one out when it happens.
Yeah.
That's
Do you believe that that was a suicide?
no. How do you do that?
Come on now.
She had like 21 stabs in the back of her head. Like there's no physical way to like I would go get a knife just to show everybody, but I don't want
Oh
to
God.
accidentally like hit myself in the head. But if you do the actual like even if you do like Pilates, it's like almost impossible to I don't know. And I think there were like stabs in her head after they said she was dead. So like how did that happen?
I believe that he kicked in the door. He probably ambushed her from behind,
Hmm.
stabbed her those many times, landed on the floor. He could have even fell down in the blood, stepping in it, and slipped and fell. And she could have been still alive, and that headshot could have been him just lunging after her.
But you don't think it was her doing it, right?
Oh hell no!
Why do people think that? That now, if people want to talk about a conspiracy or a cover up, that's the case you got to go to, not this case, right? Think about
Right.
it. That's the case you got to go to if you're trying to like. And I feel like there's a case like that right now that people could be looking into. And to be honest with you, part of me is like scared to look into it too much because I do think it goes up a little bit higher.
I emailed the parents and I got a response from somebody who is advocating for them, and they said that they would pass along the request because I said I'd like to have the parents up on my panel to just get their perspective because I feel that they haven't been heard adequately toward their daughter's situation. You know, even the ones that I've seen with the newscasters, they weren't given the opportunity to really talk. You know what I mean? And the person said, "Sure, send me the video that you did, and I'll pass the message along." But I haven't heard anything back, so hopefully,
Well, I'm in
um,
Philadelphia, so maybe I can like. I think there's a date coming up December 8th or something.
that'd be
I'll have to
awesome.
look into it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Hmm.
Nina, do you know about that case?
Nina, do you know about Ellen Greenberg? Oh, maybe Nina stepped
I
away
think
again.
she stepped away. How about the chat? Do y'all know about the Ellen Greenberg case? The
Shit, I
case
was muted.
Oh, you were
where her
muted. She was
boyfriend was
muted. Now,
supposedly
do you
working
think
out.
Ellen Greenberg did that to herself?
Yeah, I actually had a somebody come to me and request that I do the research on it. That's some crazy shit.
You don't think she did that to herself, right?
Hell no.
Okay, good. But
Ain't no, there is no damn way she's got a gash in the back of her head
that's what I said.
that's like 3 inches.
Yeah, how's it even possible? It's
Right
not.
here. How did she?
All I can think of is if she did it, we're talking Final Destination shit, okay?
But there was also gashes in her shoulder area back here.
But if you ever watch the movie Final Destination, the teacher went to get a knife and she slipped, and then the knife fell and got her on in the chest. I mean, it was a freak accident, but 20 times down.
Mm-mm.
You
I
might
And
mean,
fall on a knife. You
I
might
did
fall
a
on a knife
video.
once.
I
she
did a
was like
live
super
on that. I have a lot of different cases in my library. If you ever want to go check them out.
I will because that one I just think that's
Yeah,
crazy that they were able to get that. And then
and
and
it
I
has her face. It has her picture on it. So
okay, I'll definitely
yeah.
look at it. But I remember them saying like it was ruled that first and then they took it back and said like it
Yeah,
was
they had a secret meeting.
that okay, so remember when I
They
said
had
before
a
about
behind
we have to
they had a behind the door meeting, and it came back as suicide.
yeah, so that in that case, so I guess there conspiracies can happen, right? I just don't think that they're as common as some people like to do it, like or like to say it. Like that Occam razors thing. Like I think in Brian's case, like, come on. Where in this case, like when you're saying that this is what this is, I don't know how nobody sees it as that except for the person that wrote that down. That's it. And her boyfriend.
Well,
They're the only people that see it as that.
he supposedly was locked out of the apartment, right? Because he went to work out. He was locked out of the apartment. He came back up. He was texting her. He was calling her. He emailed her, and he's beating on the door. And then he finally breaks the door in. Why wouldn't he have a key?
Exactly. And even if it was just a regular latch, like you could still break a door in with a latch.
Yeah, we're not talking Idaho though. If you want to come up here, you can come up here, but we're not talking Idaho. We're talking different things now. We've switched gears
Wait, are you just saying that because
because it's Jeff.
yeah,
No,
And Jeff's gonna agree with me. Jeff, you should come up.
no, no, because I mean we're getting into an hour and 35 into it. I got to work in the morning.
I
I
do
really
too.
don't. I don't want to go that much longer about anything really. But I believe that the Ellen Greenberg case would be something worth looking into and continuing to keep it in the public eye. Another one that's good that I've done some stuff on is Emma Baum. Have you heard about her?
Mm-mm.
The pregnant mother out of Gary, Indiana, that went
Oh, that
missing.
poor child.
Mm-mm.
Um, she was last seen at her boyfriend's residence. Supposedly, according to her boyfriend, she got into a vehicle with a friend, and that's the last she's ever been seen. She didn't have a cell phone. She didn't have anything to really track her. There's no cameras in the area, nothing like that. She just vanished. So it just, that's another one that's really fallen off the map. The
That's
Suzanne
crazy.
Simpson case, the one where out of Texas, is where the wife and the husband were having a huge argument out front of the house. They've been married for 20 years and their marriage was rocky. Well, the neighbor heard a scuffle going on. Um, they heard, screaming in the woods not far from the house. They saw the husband get in his truck and then come back hours later. Um, the daughter reported to the school that daddy hurt mommy's elbow and her arm. And recently, they found like a sawzall, the bigger ones, a blade with her DNA on it.
Wow.
So that's one, you know.
Yeah, that's crazy. And then there's that other girl that just went missing or whatever, and her father wound up completing the one that's like big right now. She told everybody that she got hacked or something for all her money. Do you know what I'm talking about?
hmm I really don't. I was nodding to John's statement about the CEO hit.
Oh
He
yeah, that's
said,
a
"Gotta
different one.
go to bed."
Yeah, that's a different one. I'll have to look
But
into the
which
CEO.
one's the one you're talking about?
So the girl, she just she was supposed to go to New York to go see her aunt, and she was in California, and at
Oh,
LAX
the one who went
LAX,
to Mexico.
and her dad wound up like offing himself when he went to go look for her.
Yes.
Which I don't understand that, because I'm like, if there was even an iota of a chance, and I'm sure Nina could like jump in on that. If there's an iota of a chance that my kid's alive because they're still out there and we haven't found them, I couldn't imagine just
hmm
being like, okay, I'm done.
Well, I
Unless
mean,
he killed her.
You what?
they
I
found
said,
her in
unless he killed
Mexico.
her.
They found
I
her
don't-
in Mexico.
yeah, she's not dead.
Oh, well, she didn't kill her then.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And the dad went out looking for her and stuff, and he couldn't find her. And I think in his own head, he thought that like she was, and that like he couldn't live
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
Could you imagine though
Well,
how she must feel finding that out?
that's terrible that the dad would off himself.
Terrible. Yeah. All right. Well, we both have work tomorrow, but I'm sure I'll
All
see you
righty.
up here
Hey,
this
hang
week.
on. I want to read y'all something.
Oh, please do.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was bossy.
No, no, I like bossy. I'm good with that.
This, I'm just going to read you a little part of it, but it is the intrinsic appeal of evil, sadism, sensational thrills, and threatened egotism. Three main sources of intrinsic appeal and satisfaction from performing violent acts are described. First, sadism involves deriving pleasure directly from the suffering of the victim. An opponent process model is suggested. Second, the quest for thrilling sensations to escape from boredom can produce violent acts, including many in which the harmful consequences were not intended. Third, threatened egotism entails that one's favorable view of self has been attacked by either a negative response, a rejection, or anything, and that it condones a violent response directed towards the source of the attack. Relevant individual differences, respectively low guilt, high sensation seeking, and narcissism, moderate these patterns. Analyzing the intrinsic appeal of evil acts as useful complement to analyzing situational determinants of violence.
Okay, so real quick, I think what you just read there was the dark triad, which is Machiavellianism, which is sadism, narcissism, which they eventually say towards the end, and then antisocial personality, which is the other part. So the part about the ego being hurt, that's the narcissism, and then the part about just hurting people for the thrill of it. That's the antisocial part. And then the sadism part is the part about hurting others. So we call that the dark triad. And that's a really dangerous person. So if you know somebody with all three of those together, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially with sadism, that's scary.
Well, I just know that, the research that I had done on the ego depletion was ego depletion escalating to threatened egotism.
Yes. Well, I'm saying, yes, I agree with everything that you read. Like, and I backed it up with like the actual scientific names.
Yeah, I didn't. I think Gage actually did a dark triad.
Oh, well, then you both get an A+. There you go.
Yeah,
We
the
have to
dark
let Gage
triad.
go. This is finals week, which means that you have a final tomorrow or the next day, and you need to go study.
Yeah.
In 1 week, we're
Hey,
done.
I'm not gonna go kick rocks, Nina. She told Gage can go kick rocks.
That's funny. This is my last week of teaching classes for a couple weeks, and then I get a break. I teach college,
I would
so I
like
get
to
off
do
with
the
college.
I would like to do the dark triad one evening when we have time.
I would love that.
Because
Like I said, after
that's
this week, I'm off for like about a month.
yeah, I got about 2 weeks after this week, so
You still work
2,
though,
3 weeks.
don't you?
Yeah.
So my work
Yeah.
is going to college, is teaching at college. So when college is off, I'm off.
Yeah, we can do the dark triad. And I wasn't trying to be rude to Jeff in no shape, form. He knows who I
Oh,
am.
I know,
And
I know. Jeff's the type that
I
you can.
just, I mean, honestly, I told my panel and everybody in the chat that I wasn't going to get into the Idaho 4 case until the trial. And that's why I don't like, that's why I'm trying not to go backwards with that.
Yeah, but
And
why
that
though? Because that's
aspect.
what people are interested in.
Well, I understand that,
And if
but
you want to grow your this is what I say. Look, this is what I tell my children. In life, sometimes you do that some of the things that maybe you wouldn't like love to do so that you can do the things that you do love to do. So what I mean by that is if you can get more people to come in and subscribe by talking about the Idaho 4, you can still weave other topics in like addiction and stuff like that that interest you.
Don't cut your nose off about your face.
I've been doing this for like a year now, and at the very beginning, that's all I would do, and I'm pretty burnt out on it. That's the reason I don't want to do it. That's
So,
why I want to talk.
Gage, the thing about it is you're going at it a different way. You're going at the psychology of it.
Yeah, I mean that's why I look at it. I don't really look at the tripping on a step or anything like that. And that's no disrespect toward anybody. It just
See,
I
I'm into
just look
both
at it.
sides. So let's get me up to 1,000 so that I could fill the
Well,
gap. And then I could come here and then you could come there and we can,
You can go
well,
live
I,
now.
well,
hell.
I understand that. You should post in your community posts like on a daily. People will know who you are. You do shorts, where you promote your channel. You let them know what
But
your
I think
channel's
she thinks
about.
that you got to have 1,000 people to go live like you do on TikTok.
No,
You can go live now.
Oh, you can?
with
Yes,
50. Yeah,
I only have 300 people.
yeah.
Oh, I go on your live all the time when you're on.
But what I'm saying is you can go live right now.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
All right, so Jeff, maybe this week me and you can. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, Jeff, you and Dr. Vona can go live and discuss the steps.
We could talk about the step, Jeff.
But no, seriously. I mean, when you got off right now, you could turn around and do a live right now. You don't, on TikTok, you have to have 1,000 people.
I thought you had to have 1,000 people. Who knew?
No.
I would have been doing lives forever right now if I knew that.
No, you can go live with one person.
No,
Well,
not
you
with
guys are going to
one.
see me
I
going
think it
live
has
all
to be
hours of the night
50.
now.
I think it has to be 50. At
Okay,
least
well,
50.
I have 116.
Yeah, you can. Well, I know I went on Drunk Turkey's panel and I had 36, but that
Yeah.
wasn't my own live. I was just on panel.
Right. He was on. Yeah. Dr. Vona, they will come. Just give it time. I'm
No, they
working on
won't.
something. Yes, they will. I'm working on something very big by the end of the month that's going to just blow both of our channels up. And
Both.
I
There's
mean,
3 of us up here.
and it's not going to have anything to do. Well, us three, if you want to be involved in it, um, it's gonna work itself out. I mean, patience is a virtue, and I know sometimes it takes a while.
We had
But you
something
have to
that we
be.
were working on before us three came together that we
I,
worked on a few times
I
off
was
Let's Talk.
joking. I
I
was
know, but I mean
joking.
that's what he meant. I don't think he was trying to keep you
No,
out. I think he was talking about like he just was referencing something and that.
Right, right.
no, I don't take offense to that. But no, seriously though, I mean, it building a channel is degrading sometimes. It's demeaning. I mean, it's hard.
So I guess that's the point is that you have to do it for the right reason. So when you feel
Yes.
passionate about something and you go and do it, you do it. So when I do this, I'm not going to do it. I mean, I hope people tune in eventually, but if they don't, then they don't.
I mean, that's how I am. I put my stuff
Well,
out
you're
there. If it
getting
gets 40 views,
exposure. You're getting exposure tonight, the other
right.
night, the night. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm
people
a
are
panel
seeing
hoe.
you. So, I mean, you're gonna get exposure. Don't worry, it's gonna happen for you. I mean, I
Don't
just
worry,
don't.
I'll still be coming up on your lives all the time because I don't see
Well, I
myself making my
appreciate
own
that.
much.
I
Yes, I'll be up
appreciate
here.
that. I
I'll
appreciate
be a
that.
regular as long as you'll have me.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You know. Um.
All right, you guys, I think I have to go to bed because it's going to be
Yeah.
really
You
early
guys
really
have
quick.
a wonderful night, and try not to stress on any of these cases because in the end, if you are, I guess, obsessive when it comes to these cases, and you're not living your life, and you're living your life through YouTube, then you're missing out on a lot of beautiful moments that you could create with the real people in your life rather than living it vicariously online. You know.
In other words, he's
So
going to go see his girlfriend.
she's waiting. She's probably going to text me any minute. Hey, get your ass off YouTube already. It's all right. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, you should.
All right. Well, you
All
guys
right, you
have a
guys.
wonderful night.
I'll
Thank
see
you
you
for being
all.
up here again, and I'll see y'all again soon. Okay.
Hi, everyone in chat.
Y'all go subscribe to Dr. Vona if you
Thanks.
haven't already. Subscribe to Nina if you haven't already, and some of the other creators that are in the chat. Um,
It's
y'all
not
have a
letting me
wonderful.
click out. What's going on? Oh, here we go. Thank you.
All right. Well, guys, Detective John, it's always good to see you. It's always good to see you, Truth. It's good to see you, Tom, Jeff, Soul Child, PKC. You jumped in there where I didn't even see you. Thank you for being here. Melissa, if you'll watch this on a replay, I didn't ignore you, but hopefully the mod told you hello. Y'all have a wonderful night. I'll see y'all again soon. Take care.